I'm going to build a P&L on screen right now, a real profit and loss statement for a $3 million service business line by line, and by the end, you're going to see exactly why that business is broke. Most owners think 3 million in revenue means you've made it. You've got a real business. You should be comfortable. The truth is, most 3 million service businesses are working harder than they were at 1.5 and making less, not less margin, less actual cash. And the reason isn't revenue. It's what happens to every dollar between the top line and the bottom. There are exactly 3 places your money goes. And at 3 million, all 3 are broken. We see this P&L every week across our portfolio. The numbers change, the pattern doesn't. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll build this P&L line by line, show you where every dollar goes, then rebuild it at the right numbers, same revenue, so you can see the gap. And it's bigger than you think. $3 million. Let's just start there. A $3 million service business at typical starting positions look like this. And I want you to follow the math because the math is where the truth is. COGS, 50%. That's 1.5 million to deliver your service. Salaries for your delivery team, contractors, tools, processing fees. Half of every dollar you bring in goes right back out the door to do the work. That leaves you with 1.5 million. It sounds like a lot, really not, because you haven't paid anything else yet. Sales and marketing, 25%. That's $750,000. Your ad spend, your sales team, your CRM, your marketing agencies, conferences, commissions, content, you name it. That's what it costs you to keep new clients coming in. Then we have general and administrative, 35%. That's $1,050,000. Your rent, if you have it, if you're not remote, your admin team, your salary as the owner, any COOs, CTOs, insurance, legal and accounting, all the back office tech that keeps the lights on, and there it is, negative $300,000. You did 3 million in revenue and you lost $300,000. You're subsidizing the business with debt, your own savings, and with the next good month. And the worst part, you're probably working 60 to 88-hour weeks to do it. So where did that money go? It didn't disappear. It's sitting in those 3 places. And the breakdown tells you exactly which one is eating you alive. Let's pull this apart. COGS at 50%. Why is this killing you? At 50% gross margin, you're keeping 50 cents of every dollar after delivery. The target is 60 cents. That's a 10% gap. It doesn't sound like much until you run it across 3 million, $300,000. That one number, gross margin, is the difference between losing money and breaking even. And most of the time, the reason it's low pricing, the business is charging what it charged 2 years ago on clients that are worth twice as much. We'll get into how to diagnose that in video 2. Why most service businesses are broke at 3 million. The math nobody shows you in a later video. But for now, know this. If your gross margin is below 60%, the first question is always about price. Sales and marketing at 25%. Is this too high? Well, that depends. And this is where it gets a little nuanced. 25% sales and marketing isn't automatically bad. If you're spending $750,000 to acquire customers and those customers are worth 4 times what you paid for them, lifetime value, and they pay you back within 6 months, that might be a growth investment. The number alone doesn't tell you. But at $3 million with 50% gross margin, you can't afford 25% sales and marketing. There isn't enough profit to cover it. So either the sales and marketing is inefficient, you're spending in the wrong channels, your funnel is leaking, or it's a gross margin problem. Wearing a sales and marketing mask. Fix pricing first, and sales and marketing as a percent drops without cutting a dollar of spend. Next is general and administrative at 35%. This is where it's usually high. $1,050,000 in overhead on a $3 million in revenue company. Let's break that down where that actually sits. Owner's comp, probably 250 to 350. That's 8 to 12% of revenue on one person. Office rent, 150 to 250,000. Maybe a lease signed when you thought 5 million was around the corner. Admin staff, 2 or 3 people at 50 to 70K each. Insurance, legal, accounting, software, the miscellaneous line items that nobody audits, travel, you name it. At 3 million, general and administrative is almost always a combination of 3 things. The owner is overpaying themselves relative to the revenue. The office is more expensive than it needs to be. And there's one more admin person than the business requires when we could use AI. Those 3 things alone account for 10 to 15 points of additional excess in G&A. That's the broken version. Same revenue, same $3 million. Now watch what happens when these three numbers are right. I'm not going to add $1 of revenue. Same 3 million. All I'm changing is where the money goes. Your COGS at 40% or 60% margins. $1.2 million. That's, again, 60% gross margins. Same service, better pricing, tighter delivery. You're keeping $1.8 million after delivery costs instead of $1.5 million. Sales and marketing at 15%. That's $450,000. You're still marketing, still selling, but the channels are efficient, the funnel converts, and you're not paying for leads you can't close. General administrative at 15%, $450. Lean infrastructure, owners comp that makes sense at this revenue, no excess admin, an office building that fits the business, not the ego, and then operating profit at $300,000. There's 900 grand right there. $900,000 in profit versus losing 300,000. A $1.2 million swing. Same clients, same market, same 3 million. This is what I mean when I say the problem isn't revenue. You don't need $5 million to be profitable. You need the right ratios on the revenue that you already have, because I've seen so many businesses not operate at this system and go down different rabbit holes with this, and it's caused them to hemorrhage cash. If you want to see what this looks like for your actual business, your real numbers, not hypothetical, we do a free scale ready assessment for service businesses doing 2 to 20. We'll diagnose where you sit against the 60-15-15 framework. We'll build you a tax plan and we'll find you that cash you're currently leaving with the government and show you what your business is actually worth. We can work out what your enterprise value is and what type of multiple you'll get and what's dragging that number down. We take 15 of these a month and they fill up. The link is in the description if you want to have a chat. So the gap is clear. The question is, how do you actually get from the left side of that screen to the right? And to be real, you don't get from a 50-25-35 to 60-15-15 by slashing costs like a lot of controllers and accountants will tell you. And that's the instinct. See, the numbers panic, start cutting, and it breaks things. You cut your G&A too aggressive and your operations, they fall apart. You slash sales and marketing and your pipeline dries up over the next 6 weeks and you're in pain there. You try and raise prices overnight, adding 400% or 30%, and you lose clients you can't afford to lose just yet. Or you raise your prices and your close rate goes down and you snap back to the way that you were. The path is about 18 to 24 months. It's a diagnostic. Figure out which number is the furthest off target. Figure out why it's off and execute one meaningful fix at a time. And here's what makes it work. The three numbers aren't independent. When you fix one, it pulls the others as well. A pricing fix improves gross margin, but it also grows revenue, which shrinks sales and marketing and G&A as percentages without touching those budgets. A G&A cut frees up cash that you can reinvest into sales and marketing, which then drives growth, which shrinks G&A further. One fix cascades. That's why the order matters. That's why you don't fix all three at once. You fix the one with the widest blast radius first, and then you let it compound. If this framework is starting to make sense, subscribe. Every video in this series breaks down a different piece of the system. The next one will show you how the full diagnostic works. You saw the math. Same 3 million, two completely different businesses. One losing 300K, using debt to fund things or future profits or coming out of the owner's paycheck. One making $900,000. The difference is three numbers. And right now you know which ones should be off in your business. Next, I'm going to show you the full operating system. Why the diagnostic runs in a very specific order, how the three fixes compound, and the 18 to 24 month timeline to get there. That's the video that puts it all together. Again, links in the description if you want me to run your numbers.